One carpenter bee hovers outside your eave on a warm March morning. By June, she has drilled 8 inches into your fascia board. By August, her offspring return to the same tunnel and drill 6 inches deeper. Most people spray and miss. There is a $12 bottle that ends the entire cycle. Hover to drill. That hovering bee outside your deck is a female selecting a nest site. She taps the wood surface with her mandibles, testing for softness and grain direction. Unpainted softwoods are her first choice. Cedar, pine, and redwood rank highest. Once she selects a site, she drills straight in for about 1 inch, then turns 90 degrees and tunnels with the grain for up to 6 inches. The entire drilling process takes less than a week. The tunnel she leaves behind lasts for decades. Tunnel system. That first tunnel is not a single-season problem. Carpenter bee offspring return to the same wood every spring. They do not drill new holes from scratch. They find the existing tunnel, extend it deeper, and add side galleries branching off the main shaft. A tunnel that measured 6 inches in year 1 measures 14 inches by year 3. By year 5, the internal gallery system inside a single fascia board can span 2 feet of hollowed wood. The board looks intact from the outside. Press on it and it flexes. That is not rot. That is structural loss from the inside. Woodpeckers accelerate the damage further. They hear the larvae moving inside the tunnel and tear the wood open to reach them. One carpenter bee tunnel becomes a woodpecker excavation site within a single season. Pest company mortal. Here is what happens when you call a pest company for carpenter bees. A technician arrives with a can of aerosol pyrethroid spray. He sprays around the entry holes and along the eaves. The visit takes 15 minutes. He schedules a follow-up in 30 days. That aerosol costs the company under $3. You pay between $80 and $150 per visit. Here is what that spray does not do. It does not enter the tunnel. Carpenter bee tunnels extend 6 to 14 inches into the wood. An aerosol spray applied at the entry hole evaporates within 48 hours. The larvae inside the tunnel are untouched. The adult female is untouched if she is inside when you spray. 30 days later, the bees are still active, the tunnels are still open, and the technician returns. The tunnel was never treated. The spray was never the solution. The return visit was always the plan. Delta Dust Origin Delta Dust is not a new product. Its active ingredient is deltamethrin, a synthetic pyrethroid first developed in 1974 by Michael Elliott at Rothamsted Research in England. Elliott spent years studying the natural insecticidal compounds found in chrysanthemum flowers. Deltamethrin was his most refined synthetic version of those natural compounds. It was more stable, more potent, and more residual than anything produced before it. The EPA registered it in 1980. By the mid-1980s, it was in use across agriculture, public health, mosquito control, and professional pest management. It kills insects through sodium channel disruption. When a carpenter bee contacts treated wood, deltamethrin locks the sodium channels in her nervous system wide open. Her nerves fire continuously. Paralysis follows within minutes. Death follows within hours. The critical difference between deltamethrin dust and aerosol sprays is physical behavior. Dust particles penetrate deep into tunnel galleries and cling to wood surfaces for up to 90 days. Aerosol droplets evaporate. Dust does not. That physical difference is the entire reason this product works where sprays fail. Kill proof. The University of Kentucky College of Agriculture published research on carpenter bee control comparing surface spray applications against dust insecticide treatments applied directly into tunnel galleries. The results confirmed what professional pest managers have known for decades. Surface spray applications produced minimal contact mortality because carpenter bees spend the majority of their active time inside tunnels, not on exterior surfaces. Dust applications inserted directly into tunnel galleries produced consistent contact kill of adults and larvae within the treated wood. The residual activity of deltamethrin dust on wood surfaces extended beyond 60 days in field conditions. A 2018 review published in the Journal of Integrated Pest Management examined residual insecticide behavior across multiple application types on porous wood surfaces. Dust formulations retained active concentration significantly longer than liquid or aerosol formulations on the same surfaces. The reason is particle adhesion. Dust particles bond mechanically to wood grain. Liquid formulations absorb into the wood or evaporate off the surface. Any carpenter bee that enters a dust-treated tunnel contacts the active ingredient immediately. Any bee that lands on a treated eave or fascia surface contacts it on landing. The residual window means a single application in early spring covers the entire active season. One treatment, one product, $12. That is what $60 of aerosol spray, applied 4 times per season, cannot replicate. Complete system here is exactly what to do. 2 products. Write this down. Delta Dust Insecticide, 8-ounce container, available on Amazon or at most farm supply stores for between $10 and $14. One container treats every carpenter bee entry point on an average house and lasts through 2 full seasons. A bellow bulb duster, which is a small hand pump applicator, costs about $6 on Amazon. Total setup cost is under $20, and the materials last for years. Step 1. Timing. Treat in early spring before females begin drilling. In most states, that means late February through early April, depending on your climate. Carpenter bees become active when daytime temperatures consistently reach 70 degrees. Treat before that threshold. If you have existing tunnels from previous seasons, treat those immediately, regardless of time of year. Larvae overwinter inside tunnels and emerge as adults in spring. Treating existing tunnels in fall kills overwintering larvae before they emerge. Step 2. Application. Fill the bulb duster about 1/3 full with Delta Dust. Do not overfill. The duster needs airspace to create the puffing action that drives dust into the tunnel. Insert the duster tip directly into each entry hole. Give it 2 firm puffs. You should see a small cloud of dust settle around the hole opening. That means the dust reached the interior gallery. Treat every visible entry hole on the structure. Step 3. Treat the surface. After treating each tunnel, apply a light coating of dust along the entire eave line, across the FIA boards, and along any unpainted wood surface where bees have been active. Hold the duster about 6 inches from the surface and apply a thin, even layer. You are not packing the wood, you are coating it. Any bee that lands on that surface to begin drilling contacts the deltamethrin immediately. Step 4. Leave the holes open for 72 hours after treatment. Carpenter bees entering and exiting the treated tunnel carry dust deeper into the gallery and transfer it to any larvae or adults inside. Sealing the hole immediately traps the dust at the entrance and reduces penetration. Wait 3 days. Then seal. Step 5. Sealing. Fill each entry hole with steel wool packed firmly into the opening, then cover with exterior wood filler or paintable caulk. Steel wool prevents bees from chewing through the seal. Wood filler alone does not. Sand flush and paint over the repair. The tunnel is now permanently closed. 3 mistakes. The first mistake is using the wrong product. Generic wasp and hornet sprays are the most common choice because they are available at every hardware store and the label mentions bees. They do not work on carpenter bees for the same reason pest company aerosols fail. The active concentration evaporates before it reaches the interior gallery. You need a dust formulation with a residual active ingredient. Delta Dust is the standard. There is no equivalent aerosol substitute. The second mistake is wrong application timing. Treating in midsummer after eggs have hatched and larvae are deep in the gallery reduces effectiveness significantly. The optimal window is early spring before drilling begins, and fall when adults are overwintering inside existing tunnels. Both windows give the dust maximum contact time with maximum bee population. The third mistake is not sealing the tunnels after treatment. An open tunnel is an invitation. Carpenter bee offspring locate nest sites partly by detecting the pheromone residue left in existing tunnels. An unsealed tunnel from 3 seasons ago is still chemically marked. Seal every hole after treatment or new females will reopen them next spring. Generational prevention. Carpenter bees are not random visitors. They are returning residents. Research on carpenter bee nesting behavior shows that offspring from a treated nest will return to the same structure the following spring. They are chemically drawn to their emergence site. If the tunnels remain open and untreated, the next generation drills deeper into the same wood. The damage compounds annually without any new bees finding your house from elsewhere. Your house is already on their map. Breaking the generational cycle requires two things done together: chemical treatment that kills the current population and physical sealing that removes the chemical cue drawing offspring back. Steel wool packed into a caulked hole eliminates both the entry point and the pheromone marker inside the tunnel. Paint the repaired surface with an oil-based exterior primer before the top coat. Unpainted bare wood is the primary site selection signal for new females. A fully painted, sealed, and treated fascia board is structurally invisible to a carpenter bee searching for a nest site. That is permanent prevention. The timing of sealing matters as much as the method. Seal too early, before the delta dust has had 72 hours to penetrate the gallery, and you trap surviving adults inside. A trapped carpenter bee does not die quietly. She chews a new exit hole through the wood beside the sealed entry. You now have two holes instead of one, and the original tunnel remains active. Wait the full 72 hours. Then seal. Wood selection matters for long-term prevention. Carpenter bees strongly prefer softwoods with exposed grain. If you are replacing damaged fascia boards, use hardwoods where structurally possible. Eep, cedar with full paint coverage, or composite fascia material gives bees nothing to work with. They cannot drill through composite. They rarely drill through fully painted hardwood. If you are keeping your existing softwood boards, 2 coats of oil-based exterior paint applied after the steel wool seal is the minimum protection. 1 coat of latex paint is not sufficient. Latex paint is thin enough that carpenter bees will occasionally drill through it into bare wood beneath. Walk your roofline once every spring before temperatures hit 70 degrees. Look for fresh sawdust below eave lines. Fresh sawdust means active drilling. Catch it in the first week, and 1 application of delta dust stops the tunnel before it reaches 2 inches. A tunnel stopped at 2 inches costs nothing to repair. A tunnel left for 3 seasons costs you a fascia board replacement and a weekend of labor. Here is what this costs. Delta dust runs $12 for an 8-ounce container. A bulb duster costs $6. Total first season investment is $18. The Delta Dust container treats your entire house twice. Year 2 cost is 0 unless you need a refill. Pest companies charge between $80 and $150 per visit for carpenter bee treatment. Most recommend 2 to 3 visits per season. That is up to $450 per season for aerosol applications that evaporate in 48 hours and never reach the tunnel interior. Over 5 years, that is over $2,000 spent on a product that does not solve the problem. $18 one time versus $2,000 over 5 years. The tunnel is the problem. The dust reaches the tunnel. The spray never did. That is the complete system. Treat existing tunnels with delta dust in early spring and again in fall. Coat exposed wood surfaces along the eave line. Leave holes open for 72 hours. Seal every entry point with steel wool and exterior caulk. Paint the repaired surface. The generational cycle ends when the chemical marker inside the tunnel is physically removed and the wood surface no longer signals a viable nest site. Drop a comment and tell me how many holes you counted on your house this spring. I read every one, and the numbers are always higher than people expect. If you know somebody who is watching carpenter bees return to the same spots every single year, send them this video. It might save them a new fascia board and a $400 service call.